Welcome back to the final World Cup review, guys. I'm here joined by the one and only Joseph Tomlinson. Got to be nice to him because his mum watches every single episode. How the devil are you? How's your weekend?
Good.
How are we feeling?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm feeling good. I'm fairly positive about England. You know, I think the best team won the World Cup, so there we go.
Buoyed by the fact that TfL, Travel for London, have just renamed a station Gareth Southgate.
Yes.
Love that.
Love
it.
So,
in a bit of a rogue move, we're going to start with England, despite them losing a third place playoff. But at this stage of World Cup review, there are no losers, are there, Joe? But we might as well get tucked into Southgate's men and what happened in the third place playoff. Yeah,
they lost 2-0, didn't they, to Belgium with goals from Meunier and Eden Hazard, finishing in a still respectable 4th place out of 32. I think we all would have taken that all the way back in June, wouldn't we? Southgate, though, probably a little bit disappointed in the manner of which we conceded our goals. Meunier, in particular, getting the wrong side of Danny Rose. Danny Rose really poor defensively in that situation. And then Phil Jones having more Eden Hazard nightmares, isn't he? He hates playing against the little Belgium for their second goal as well. But we did have some chances, England. Eric Dyer obviously lofted one over the oncoming Courtois, and Toby Alderweireld did brilliantly to get back, didn't he, and clear it off the line. Maguire headed narrowly wide when he probably should have scored. Look, England had 58% possession. They had more shots, 15-12. They had more shots on target, 6-4. But I think we can still all agree Belgium were the better team on the day. Belgium looked very comfortable, I thought. I just thought there was a real levelling class difference between the two sides. It's actually the most shots England have had on target from any game this tournament, the 6 on target. In fact, I think it's the same as the last 3 games combined.
Desperate to score from open play.
Desperate to score from open play. We're shooting from all sorts of areas. The result means that England have lost 3 games at this tournament. That is only the second time it's happened. The last one was all the way back at Euro 1988. Kane also finishes with a golden boot, doesn't he? 6 goals from 6 shots on target. Although most of them were penalties. One was a back heel, wasn't it? Flick by accident. So
they all count.
Don't think he had his best tournament, but nevertheless, a trophy's a trophy. England can be happy with their finish, but Belgium were a much better team.
Hot take, Harry Kane actually hasn't been that good for the last 3 or 4 months since Spurs rushed him back from injury. But let me know what you think of that in the comments below. But let's move on to Belgium, because this was their best ever finish at a World Cup, topping the 1986 effort, wherein they came 4th. And credit to the diminutive little man Eden Hazard. He was immense yet again. 7 dribbles, 4 more than the next highest player on the pitch, which was actually Eric Dyer, absurdly. He had 2 shots as well, scoring 1 goal. And since 1966, no player has been involved in more World Cup goals for Belgium than Hazard's 7. That's 3 goals and 4 assists, level with the legendary Jan Keulemans.
Who?
4 goals and 3 assists he got, but only Kane and Griezmann with 6 each were involved in more goals at this World Cup. So cometh the hour, cometh the man, and at 27, everyone was hoping he would have a tournament to remember because he's in his peak years, isn't he? On your phone, it's rude. Belgium's second, of course, scored by Thomas Meunier, who was desperately missed against France, and the right-back's effort made him the 10th Belgian scorer at this competition, the joint most by any team in World Cup history, levelling with France in 1982 and Italy in 2006. Kevin De Bruyne also played extremely well in this game. 3 shots, 1 on target, 3 tackles and 1 assist, so he was everywhere. England's best player was perhaps Eric Dyer, who had been a little bit maligned, but prior to this game, he'd not come on to great effect in previous matches. 95% pass accuracy, 3 shots, 2 on target, 1 cleared off the line, with a further 3 tackles and interceptions. Like you just intimated, the areas for improvement are pretty obvious, aren't they? Despite finding a system that we like and new players come into the fore like Stones, Maguire, Pickford, Trippier, we were still only averaging 3.5 shots on target per 90, which was actually the 18th best of the tournament and lower than Tunisia, Iceland and Peru.
Yeah.
We were also 11th best for successful passes and 17th for successful passes in the final third. So, like I said, obvious areas for improvement, but the more we play this newfound system, the more confident we'll grow, and you'd expect those statistics to improve pretty rapidly given the calibre of player we've got coming through too. So sign's good for the future, a lot to be positive about, but maybe not if you're a Chelsea fan. Just to dive into transfers quickly, because Eden Hazard had this to say after the game.
Yes, he said, after 6 wonderful years at Chelsea, it might be time to discover something different. Certainly after this World Cup, I can decide if I want to stay or go, but Chelsea will make the final decision. If you want to let me go, you know my preferred destination.
Jeez.
Now that, if ever I've heard it, is a come and get me plea to Real Madrid. The reports this morning all over the British press are that Chelsea will let him go, but only if they can get more than £199 million.
99? It was 150 at the start of this World Cup. I suppose he has had a good World Cup. Would you pay that for a 27-year-old, Joseph?
Oh, I don't know. I'd be very, very nervous about paying 200 million for Eden Hazard. He does tend to blow hot and cold, although at this World Cup, I think he's probably been the best forward in the competition alongside Mbappe.
But they already have great creators, don't they? They've got Gareth Bale, they've got Asensio. I mean, Lucas Vazquez isn't even a bad creator. And if they're losing 40 goals,
it's my one worry.
Is he the man who's going to score them goals, goals?
I think that would be a worry if I was a Real Madrid fan. Eden Hazard is not going to fill the 30 to 40 goal void that you lose with Cristiano Ronaldo. Sure, he's going to bring creativity, but you're probably also going to have to sign a number 9 if you bring Eden Hazard in. And if that happens, you're probably spending nearly 300 million on 2 players. So I'd be nervous if I was a Madrid fan. That's mad. No, I can't see that happening. That's madness.
What? Would you sign Eden Hazard for £199 million, guys? Let us know in the comments below. And if that transfer, comments below, I mean the poll just above. And if that transfer does happen, oh, it's going to break Zach's little heart, isn't it? Which will be hilarious. And just before we dive into our winners, we actually had a couple of FD guys out in Russia, an Irishman and a Goth, that's Pete Thorman and George Wright, sampling the atmosphere that the England fans generated. Now, they weren't at this game, they were at England-Croatia, so, I mean, Thorman will be relatively unaffected, but George might look heartbroken. I doubt he was even on camera. Right, skulky, isn't he? He wouldn't want to be.
The day has arrived. The FD boys are on their way to the FIFA World Cup. Big thanks to Visa for hooking us up with some tickets to the England-Croatia semi-final, and a massive thanks to Revolut for giving us a Revolut Visa card to help us on our way. To get your free one, check out the description below. But now for us, next stop, Russia. Let's go. Oh, look at it. George Wright, the Football Daily.
Get away from me now!
This is only the first pint as well. Night 1 in Moscow. It is absolutely tipping it down here, but you cannot dampen our spirits. George, what are we doing tonight? Beers. Wait, lads. Question is, can Moscow handle the Football Daily boys? Probably quite easily. Heading into Moscow now to see what the city has to say for itself. Let's go. This could potentially be the most cultured thing FD's ever done. Come all the way to Russia and this guy makes a rogue shout and going to get a tattoo. Who does he think he is? What are you going to get?
See where we're in now.
We've been in that place for 3 hours. George, explain yourself. Why did that take so long?
Setting up, the actual tattoo, and I nearly fainted.
Well, what did you even get?
I don't know, something looks cool, innit?
Something that looks cool in it. Our first 2 days in Moscow had been ones of culture and exploration, but enough was enough. it was time to find the England fans. The English and Croatian fans took to the streets of Moscow to trade chants, while a certain Northern Irishman clearly forgot where he was from. My bad. So that is that. Semi-final one is in the books. France have edged 1-0. I mean, pretty fair result in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, no team really stood out for France to do what they had to do. They did it well, they had their game plan, they executed it well.
After the absolute scenes from the day before, there was only one place that we were going to start our match day, and that was what we've christened Little England. With the beer flowing and the sun beating down on the capital, the fans began to make their way to the stadium ahead of the monumental clash. So after 4 days of the England boys making all the noise in Moscow, it was time for the main event, which, by the way, we couldn't film, so here's a montage. So that is that. England are out of the World Cup. We've just left the stadium on our way back to the hotel. We were planning a big night out, but you know, we don't really feel like it right now.
So we've been out here since the start of the tournament, and it's got better and better as we've gone along. Not even England. Russia, Spain in there, Nigeria, Argentina in the group stage, good games to go to, and then this one has brought it right back down to earth. We were dreaming, we were up in the clouds.
We really did believe for a minute.
We were in the media
There was a
section.
free kick moment tonight where I thought we had one foot in the final. Unfortunately, we got one foot on the plane now. But I've really enjoyed it. Russia's been incredible. People were very welcoming. It's been a party atmosphere non-stop. The streets of Moscow were alive after they beat Spain. And I don't think we'll ever experience a Russia like this. I certainly don't think the Muscovites have ever seen anything like it, and probably will never again.
But the real winner in this is Russia.
Yeah?
Yeah. For hosting a magnificent tournament.
Oh, that's beautifully put.
And also for getting as far as they did go.
Yeah, they did well. They did themselves proud, and you know, I think England have won as well, really, ultimately. We've far exceeded expectations.
Do you think we would have beaten Russia tonight had we played them?
Yes, 100%. That's what my dream semi-final was. I knew we were going to come a cropper against that midfield tonight. They're good. Look at the control that they've got in midfield compared to us. We've got guys who just run around and can't pass. Cold hard truth, baby.
And so our time in Russia has come to an end. England, unfortunately, could not get over the line, losing 2-1 to Croatia after extra time. But I think England as a team have a lot to be proud of. They reached the semi-finals much further than anybody ever expected. George, what an achievement.
I mean, to get to the FIFA World Cup semi-finals is unbelievable, and this group of players are all very likeable. It's the first time there's been a feel-good factor around England for a long, long time. And I don't know, I think just got to look forward to the future. I don't think we'll reach as far again, but it's been a good ride, and I think everyone's really appreciating it.
Yes, it has been an absolutely unforgettable experience. Moscow has been a fantastic city to tour around, and a massive thanks to Visa for hooking us up with a ticket, and a massive thanks as well to Revolut for giving us a Revolut Visa card to help us pay for things while we are here. What's next for us? Early flight, get back to the UK, and you know, assimilate ourselves back into the football daily life after just a ridiculous 5 days in Moscow. Back to you guys.
We finish with our World Cup winners. It's France, Hamster.
Yeah, the big fat W was France, who won the World Cup for a second time after beating Croatia 4-2 in a pretty epic final. Finals normally cagey affairs. This was not, with goals from Mandzukic obviously being an own goal, Griezmann, Pogba, Mbappe, and Perisic and Mandzukic. Now, in the process, France became the first side to score 4 in a World Cup final since Brazil in 1970, although I would argue one of the most boring sides to score such a tally in World Cup history. They also ensured that Deschamps became just the 3rd man to win the prestigious trophy as both a player and a manager, as they avenged their defeat to Portugal in the final of Euro 2016. And as critical as I have been of the champs because of his pragmatic style of play, given the talent he has at his disposal, France have infuriatingly good game management.
They've got Real Madrid get levels of game management on the big stage.
And you know what? The scary thing is they produce all over the park. We've seen Belgium not produce fullbacks. We've seen England not produce creative midfielders. France, strength and depth all over the park, and probably the best central defensive pairing at the World Cup.
Definitely.
And what, are they both 24?
Incredible. Varane was ridiculous.
Absolutely disgusting. And like I said, it was a cracking game. Highest goal tally in a final since 1958. Also included a pitch invasion by Pussy Riot and VAR controversy.
Yes.
Controversy. Struggled with that word, didn't I? So lots to talk about. Croatia actually became the first side to lose in their first final appearance since the Dutch in 1974 as well. But after only participating in 5 World Cups, they've already reached 2 semi-finals and 1 final. So punching well above their weight, aren't they? I've got to say, I think they're going to feel pretty hard done by today. They were the much better side in the first half. Griezmann dived for that free kick, didn't he? Which they scored their first goal from. First own goal in World Cup final history as well.
Mario, great. Can I just say that I know that it was an own goal, but it's an unbelievable free kick. And if he doesn't score, then Varane scores or Pogba scores behind him. And the simple fact is Croatia got that bit of defending completely wrong. They were about 10, 15 yards too deep.
Well, what puzzled me about Croatia's defending from set pieces, particularly that free kick which is coming from wide area, was the 2 lines.
Yeah, they were not great from set pieces.
Obviously, if you're lining up together and it's a great ball, you can step out and hope to catch people offside. But if you've got 2 lines and you're sitting deep, if it's a great ball, then you just have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Fabulous cross though.
Yeah, brilliant. And I think barring sort of 10 minutes in the second half, we had a little debate on WhatsApp as to who had the best of the second half. Croatia, the better side there as well, but France had the more decisive players. Is the champs lucky? Dual champs, probably. Mandzukic would later become just the second player in World Cup history to score an own goal and a goal in the same game. The first being the Netherlands' Ernie Brandst versus Italy in 1978. Well done for digging that out, Dougie. Perisic then conceded a penalty. The penalty for handball, then he went from 0 to 0, which was awarded by Nestor Pitana, one of them, which certainly wasn't clear-cut. Now, I don't necessarily, at least at full speed, think that was a penalty. It looks a lot more damning at half speed, and his hand kind of does flick out last minute. The header is goal bound, so I can see why it was given, but I'd feel extremely hard done by there. I don't feel like the movement is wholly unnatural.
I think it was a penalty. I just thought that his hand, he's like reaching the apex of his jump, and his hand is not propelling him aerially or fighting off other people. It's only his left hand that moves. His right hand stays where it is. I just thought it was a bit of an unnatural movement of the arm. I can totally see why it was given. Yeah. So for me, it was a penalty.
I don't think the ref helped himself out when he went back for a
second
second
that was awful. Yeah.
And then only looked at it for 10 seconds.
The one thing I will say.
Unsure.
Yeah, the one thing I will say is that the rules of VAR is that it has to be clear and obvious that it was a definite error. And I'm not sure you could say either way it was. I felt it was a penalty. There were other people that felt it wasn't a penalty. I think I put a Twitter poll out. It was 60-40 split, so still pretty close. So I'm not sure about the decision-making process.
And playing it at 10% speed isn't clear and fair to the defender. It didn't feel like an even scenario. But France really stepped up in the second half, didn't they? Like I said, at least for 10-15 minutes, and put them to the sword.
Yeah, I think when France came out after half-time, they just managed the game perfectly. I think, obviously, like you said, they had 10-15 minutes, maybe a 20-minute spell where they were the better team. And in that time, they got their goals. And then in the other half of the second half, I think they just controlled the game. They knew they were 2-3 goals up, and they didn't really need to press out. They were very comfortable at the back. Didn't really feel ever like Croatia were creating chance after chance after chance. If it wasn't for that Hugo Lloris howler, I'm not sure Croatia would have ever got that second goal in the game.
I mean, bringing on both Nzonzi and Tolisso is so the champs. 2 defensive midfielders for 2 defensive midfielders. And Nzonzi did have a positive impact, actually.
Yeah, I thought Kante was not having his best game either. I didn't think that was Kante's best game on a yellow card. But anyway, yeah, like I said, 2 goals in 6 minutes really killed Croatia off, and then that Hugo Lloris howler. But, like you said, Croatia had 66% possession, they had 14 shots, they had 4 on target. They just weren't really clinical enough. I think France had 7 shots, but 6 on target. And it's kind of Subasic, not his best night, potentially maybe carrying a little bit of a knock. He felt quite static, didn't he, in the Croatian net. But anyway, for me, the key player in this game was Paul Pogba.
Big up yourself, Paul.
Yes.
Sick guy.
He completed the most passes, the most tackles, the most interceptions, created the most chances, and completed the second most dribbles on the pitch.
You know what? People are saying that, oh, why isn't he this good for Manchester United? You know, I think we should. He is good for Manchester United.
Put a
I
bit
think
of
we should
respect in his name.
respect him, a little bit more in a Red Devils top. But there's a couple of times where he gave it away, and his game management maybe wasn't as tight as it could have been. But apart from that, just a standout player. Man.
I mean, the most disciplined I've ever seen Paul Pogba. The amount of times he was dropping in to win headers between the centre halves and also tracking runners really impressed me. And some of those old school pundits, looking at the likes of Souness and people like that, were saying,
"Where are you?"
Always saying, oh, you know, it's because he's sat next to a player like N'Golo Kante, does the running of 2 people. I actually thought that he was better, Pogba, when Nzonzi was sat in next to him. I thought Pogba didn't need Kante in there. He was doing his own defensive work, and to say that he was only good because of Kante does him a little bit of a disservice.
Just going out of the way to serve their agenda, aren't they? I actually thought he was a little bit more disciplined against Belgium, but like
he was great against Belgium.
He was better going forward in this game, and that pass.
Yeah. Oh my God, the pass.
Dirt McGirt.
The pass that led up to Pogba's goal, and also a fantastic finish, by the way, on his left foot. But also a shout out to Kylian Mbappe. What a goal that was. Don't think it was his best day. Maybe a little bit quiet. But Croatia managed him quite well. But
Vida.
Yeah, Vida played really well. But what you've got to say about Mbappe, what is that? First teenager to score in a World Cup final since Pelé, all the way back in 1958. He also took home the Golden Boy Award, so congratulations to him. I think France have now won it 2 consecutive World Cups. I think Pogba won it in 2014 and Mbappe in 2018, the Golden Boy Award.
Yeah, Golden Boy,
So, big props to those two coming up trumps for the French in the final. Personally, I thought they were the best team consistently throughout the tournament and fully deserved to win it. Maybe Croatia probably had the better time of it in the final, but overall, through the course of 5 weeks, France were the best
After
team.
the round of 16, definitely.
Yeah.
Toilet in the group.
Anyway, before we wrap up, let's have a little VT, a cut down of some of the best French celebrations we saw on social media.
Ah, c'est une grande fierté pour nous.
Et champion du monde!
So that was our final World Cup review, guys. Thank you for watching. Only 3 weeks until the season starts, so look out for our transfer talks, our transfer reviews, and our 12th man show. It is returning to guide you through pre-season on fantasy football. Peepers peeled for all that great content. Joe, anything else to say to the lovely people at home?
Yeah, thanks so much for watching all of our World Cup coverage. Stay tuned to Football Daily. Bye.
See ya.